Well, the last thing yins will have seen is just some little snippets of me pressing in some ball joints. Anyway, to make a long story short, I bought these ball joints at O'Reilly Auto Parts, but I can't really bash them because AutoZone, Advance, everybody else you come to also sells the same garbage that doesn't fit. Yeah, they are incorrect. They do not fit. They don't even compare to the originals. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention. It's not an extreme amount, but I'll show you why. Well, anyway, if you notice this bottom ball joint, it hits the axle shaft, okay? It's not even torqued to spec. It can't even turn. There's no clearance. That's one problem. The other problem is the lower ball joint's also too tall, which makes the upper ball joint not fit. See that adjusting nut sticking through the bottom? Yeah, that should not be there. That adjusting nut that is sticking way down in that hole should be up closer to the top. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You can't even get the castle nut on it. I mean, I tried to put it together and I thought something was awry. And I looked and I looked and I kept looking and I'm like, something ain't right. Well, I had already pressed the ball joints in the other knuckle, so I started doing some investigation work. Well, anyway, ball joints for these straight axle Ford trucks. If you want ones that'll actually fit, these are the only ones I could find. That's lower ball joint. Master Ride brand Napa. It's a good looking ball joint. There's the part number for the lower. Same brand. Napa Auto Parts. Where's it at? There's the part number for the upper. These I think are actually second line Moogs. Moog makes several ones that they claim they don't. Good thing my paint job's not great, right? But anyway, I left a grease fitting in it instead of a plug just because I can actually grease the lower. The uppers, unless you want to pay $50 for a ball joint, you ain't gonna be able to grease it. Oh well, crap happens. But anyway, it's, as you can tell, that's the upper and there's the lower. Okay, you're saying, well, what's this big deal about these ball joints? Well, you see the lower. I'm gonna set this upper in here. Mind you, I've got it set pretty close. I mean, we're off thousandths here. That's about it. And you already see the issue. Look at the stud. Look at that stud. Yeah, and they're setting for the pressed flange. They do recess slightly in there, but I'm talking we're not off much. There we go. That's right about, that's probably actually too much. But anyway, as you can see, trying to get it on the shot in a straight line, you can see it's taller. And the taper does not measure out correctly either. I took a mic to it. I don't know what the hell that is, but it sure don't fit this truck. The uppers aren't much better. They're off in the same ways. I've got an upper that looks like that. It was made by that company with that kind of boot, and of course that one I showed you, that blue boot on it over there. They both were in Master Pro boxes, you know. I don't really care if a different manufacturer made them, but, you know, good lordy, at least make them the same. But anyway, I'm going to have to take this knuckle over here back off, and I'm going to press those out and press these here, this style in, and I'll let you go along and see that, but I got to get it off first. Okay, boys and girls, if you can look past the pile of crap I've got laying everywhere, this has turned into a project that's really beginning to piss me off. But anyway, I'm going to tell you a few steps along the way to not do, okay? Things that you really shouldn't do, that I am going to do on the removal of these because they are wrong, they're garbage. I've spoke with them, they're going to warranty them out. It ain't like they could resell them anyway, so I'm not going to be worried about hurting boots. I'm not going to be worried about scratching them. I'm not going to be worried about anything. They will press right out because they've already been, you know, ball joints have been pressed out, they've been pressed in, they'll slide out like butter. So I'm just going to get them out of there. But notice how I put them back in. That's the correct way. I'll tell you where I'm saving time. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Well, first thing first, you're going to need a socket, which should be laying, I thought, on the press. But apparently she's not on the press. Huh. talking about a good video, I guess. If it ain't on the press. Anyway, I don't know what I did with that socket. We're not gonna worry about it. We're gonna use this one. Not what I wanted, but it'd be fine. It'll work. I'm not gonna be real worried and real anal about this. But what we are gonna do, we're gonna run this press down. Like I said, see, it's not exactly even or anything else, but these will come right out, so I'm not going to be insanely worried. I'm just going to stack that up for spacing. But these will just pop right out. Now, mind you, if you're replacing your ball joints, they're not going to just pop right out. But like I said, you get the idea. You're going to use a piece of bar or a socket or something, and you're going to put pressure on the bottom of it, and it will move. It's going to press out. This is wanting to be a little bit of a booger. It was tight. It shouldn't have been that tight. But anyway, like I said, they're junk. They're not right. But anyway, we're gonna press this lower or this upper. This is the lower I just pressed out. You gotta press it out first, and you gotta press it in first. You have to actually press through. And what we're going to do here is we're going to raise the table. We have no choice. So bear with me while I attempt to do that. Without dumping my knuckle off. There's one side raised. Like I said, there's several little cheats that we're going to do, and right there is actually one of them. Saves a little time. And doing what I done right there is not, it's not redneck, it's not unapproved, it's just done. I'm trying to, of course, also trying to do this where you can see it. Get that in there. Figure out what's going on here. That looks pretty decent like. And to get this one out, what we're going to do is we're going to do something else. I like to do this. 3-pound sledgehammers or whatever. They're tough stuff. They make good little mandrels for a press. They really do. And we're just going to pop this one out. Like I said, when you're pressing out the old ones, you know, you don't have to be gentle to them, okay? That's got the, we're going to call them old ones for sake of argument, but that gets the old ones out. And just to show you, this is that one oddball upper. See, it was greasable, but it's totally wrong. It ain't right. I don't know what they've done. I know that these ball joints also fit Jeeps. Jeeps used, I believe if I'm not mistaken, the Jeeps used the same ball joints, but I think they mount upside down. I think the knuckles are upside down compared to these. I think the nuts, like the upper nut, is on the inside of the axle yoke, and the lower nut's on the bottom. I think. Don't hold me to that, but I think a Jeep's backwards or something. You know, if you've got a Jeep, you know, but we're not working on a Jeep, we're working on a Ford truck. So that's what we're going to deal with. Alright, now you're going to ask me, well, which ball joint's the upper? Which ball joint's the lower? Oh my God, I don't know which is the top and which is the bottom. Well, a lot of people make that mistake. The thing to always remember when you take these apart is scratch on your knuckle, right and left. I mean, I can tell by looking at them. I know which one's which, and I know which is upper and which is lower. But in case, you're probably not going to, if you're watching this, to learn how to do it. Just take you a screwdriver or something and scratch a D and a P or something, or whatever, or mark one of them. You don't have to mark them both. And remember which way your steering arm's going. That's that thing sticking off to the right that your tie rod end hooks into. This one's actually the passenger, and it's sitting there upside down. It can only go on one way, and the steering arm face the right direction, so you really don't have to worry about it. Pretty self-explanatory. But let's back this thing off. cold outside and it ain't the happiest thing in the world. We are going to flip it. I have to think about this because I have been known to make mistakes doing this, and not really make mistakes that are harmful, just make mistakes as far as pressing the wrong one in first. And, you know, I have done it. I actually had a brain lapse when I went to press these out in the first place. Stay, hang there. I actually had a brain lapse and tried to press the upper out the wrong direction. I wasn't thinking of what I was doing, and after I put a little pressure on it, I'm like, wait a minute, that's backward. What are you doing, you idiot? It's got a big, let me show you, just so you understand. It's got a big knot on it. You know, you can't push from the top and push it through. It ain't going to. You got to push it from the bottom. Now, this is a, which one is this? I don't know. That's a lower. I can tell by looking at it. It don't have the adjusting sleeve with it or anything else, and it doesn't have a castle nut. It's got a locking nut. Anyway, pop your nut off. Some of them come without the nut on. You take your dust boot off. Toss it to the side for now. You don't need it. You don't want it in the way. Ball joints are an aggravating little thing. They really are. Like the GMs, the upper bolt ends, like on a a car, not a four-wheel drive. They're actually pretty easy to deal with compared to these. Let's see. Now, which way does that go? I don't know. I don't know how to put this back together. You just want to help me. Goes in there like yay. And I've got to turn it to where I can see it because I really don't want to mess up a knuckle. And you can actually, somebody's going to yell at me, but you can actually take a little hammer, and you've seen how hard I pecked that, but it'll set the ball joint. You'll get it started where it needs to go. And that's that. Another little trick is you need to make sure that your shaft is actually straight on your ball joint. It makes things easier, and I can't get a good bite on it just to give it a little bump. And I don't want to take the hammer to it. It's probably straight enough. We'll see. Use a large socket. On these, that's 1 inch and 7/16, I believe. As you notice, it's a, hope you can see, 3/4 inch drive socket. It fits down over it, just fits right on the apron of it there. There's a little ridge, it just fits perfect. Works like a charm. We're going to take our hammer. No, we're not going to beat on it. We're just going to use it for, like I said, just a mandrel, just to press with. They work good for that. And don't make that mistake. You could bend that in a heartbeat. Actually started, the press wasn't through the hole. It was binding up on it. Like I said, this is not an exact process. Anything that you actually press out, you know, you got to use force, yes. You don't want to use brute force, no. And I may need to do something else here. I don't know if I'm going to have enough reach to press it in, but we're going to attempt it. I may have. I hope I've got clearance for it. Oh yeah, she's going right in. Press it down, and when you feel it bottom, give it about a half a pump of your bottle jack and you press. Let her be. Because if you can get what I'm fixing to show you, I'm not going to tell you, I'll just show you. Because if it cooperates here in a minute, you've got it in far enough. Get your junk out of there. Get your socket off of there. You're not going to dig the wood out of your threads. Alright, hope you can see. Look at the bottom of this. I didn't show you. I showed you, but if you didn't catch it, you rewind the video and see it. It's not that big of a deal. There's a ridge around the bottom of this ball joint. A little groove goes all the way around. You'll get a little parts kit. And on these ball joints, it's kind of strange. I don't really understand one thing that they actually did. But on the upper ball joints, you have to plug off, have to grease them with zerk fitting and then plug it because it won't clear the axle shaft. The plug comes with the lower ball joint. Kind of strange. I don't know if that was a accidental packing, or like I said, these fit Jeeps and it may be the opposite way around. I don't know. I know they fit other applications, but anyway, comes with a snap ring. Hope you can see, snap ring goes right there, snap ring. These upper ball joints also have ridges. If you work at it, you can get it in there. I don't really see the point in putting it on the upper because it can't come out of place as long as the lower stays in place. So, but yet again, you know, you never know what could happen. So, you know, it's a safe idea to put it on there, but it is aggravating to get it on. Okay, that's got the lower installed. Now we have to install the upper. The upper's pretty simple, but once again, we got to move the table. That's what will drive you crazy doing these things. Is you move this thing up and down, up and down, up and down. That's all you get done. And unless you've got a humongous press, or you get a base for it, or something else, you're working on your knees. You really are. I actually bought this press specifically for this job to do these ball joints and to do the universal joints and stuff that were well rusted in. But I've wanted one for years, so it was time to buy it. Pull my ball joint out here. Your upper will come like this. Most of them do. Boy, it looks weird, doesn't it? They just do that so the part's down. There's your adjusting sleeve that screws down into the actual knuckle. Pop the boot off. Paraffin. See it? It's snowing. You use it in the manufactured rubber parts as a release agent. It looks kind of crappy, but you know, it don't hurt a thing. These ball joints are actually, that one ain't straight either. Sometimes they are, sometimes they ain't. Sometimes they come straight and sometimes they don't, so, you know. I'm not beating on this. Granted, you can put them in with a hammer. But there's a top shank on this. I'm not hitting the threads. Do not hit the threads with a hammer. There's a shank up on the top. Can't harm it. Just straighten it up. It makes it a whole lot easier to press. It saves the abuse of on the knuckle and everything. Now notice I'm not lined up, but I will line it up in a minute when I get closer. And you know, like this press right here, it's not a high dollar one. It's not junk either. That's another thing to be careful of. That happens from time to time, it'll slip. But like I said, this press is not a real expensive one. It's a Harbor Freight special. You know, it is what it is. You know, but it works. And I'm not exactly straight on this. It's not helping my cause any. But as long as you're moving, as long as the ball joint's moving, we're in good shape. If it stops moving, we're in trouble. But it should, like I said, give it about a half a pump. You may notice that a little release come off that knuckle. When you press them in, the knuckles do twist a little. They bend a little. There's a way of measuring these. And if you notice, if you look at this knuckle, it looks like I bent it, right? They're made that way. But I'll show you something. If you're worried about that, I've heard people that were worried about that and have been in the past. What you do is you take your tape measure. I know you can't really see, but you just find you a certain place and you measure. You know, like say from there to there, whatever. You measure. You measure from there to there. And if it's the same when you get done as it was when you started, or within, you know, you may be off a 1/16 of an inch, okay? It's possible. You could tweak them a little. But unless you've got major problem, unless it's majorly off, you're in good shape. But like I said, unless you do something nuts, you're not going to bend them. Try to avoid putting heat to these. Try to avoid heating them. When you go to press one, say I'm wanting to press this one out. If it's not wanting to move, put a little pressure on it with the press. If it's not wanting to move, bang it here with a hammer, like a 3-pound sledge. Don't hit it extremely hard. Bang on it all the way around. And be ready for it to pop and move. It will. You know, impact, that's how, like impact guns, you know, tire change tools, whatever you want to call it, impact the impact actually jars rust loose. Don't heat these. You don't want to heat them. You weaken it. That's a cast part. You can heat cast to the point that it's hot but not glowing and without hurting it. And somebody's going to tell me, oh, it'll hurt it. It will if you do it over and over and over and over. But if you think about it, what's an exhaust manifold on a car made out of? Cast iron. How hot does it run? Think about it. Yeah, it will not hurt it unless it's repeated. You know, people say, well, my exhaust manifold cracked and crumbled. Yeah, it's probably made out of an inferior cast, for one, and for two, it's been heated and cooled so many times it ain't funny. He's got his original manifolds that come with the truck, as far as I know. They are original ram horn manifolds. They're not cracked. So, what's that tell you about heating cast iron? I've had those glowing on that truck before. But anyway, that's how you do ball joints. See y'all.